What is up, YouTube? XX Ghost Trikz XX, come back at you for another commentary, and I'm gonna tell you guys a little something today that you might not know about, and this could potentially change your life. I mean, like, potentially, like the way I'm walking right now. You see how I'm not turning at all? Don't worry, I don't remember why I was doing that, but I figured I had something in one hand, but I still wanted to move forward, so you get what I'm saying? I bet you do. Anyway, what's up? I'm coming at you today, and I'm going to be telling you how to make bread very simply, very quickly, very easily, very entertainingly. I don't think that's a word, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like that bitch getting drop shotted. Anyway, I'm actually eating a piece of my own personal bread right now, and I have to say it is an orgasm in my mouth, and everyone's invited. So, I just really like bread, and honestly, what would you rather do? Would you rather go to the supermarket and buy a loaf of Wonder Bread, or devour a fresh loaf of bread that you just made, perfectly crispy on the outside, super soft and fluffy and nice on the inside? There's just nothing like homemade bread. And so I'm going to tell you guys today that this is all you need to make bread. Flour, water, salt, and yeast. 4 ingredients. It's like one of the most basic recipes in the world. It is ridiculously easy to do. And the only thing is that it takes a lot of time, not to necessarily do, but you have to wait a lot, because essentially what you have to do is you have to mix it. And after you mix, you have to let it rest. And this is called fermentation, like a bulk fermentation, so it rests for a really long time. And essentially what this does is all the yeast you put in it, because I don't know if you guys know, but yeast is alive. It's a bacteria, essentially. And it will eat the sugars and stuff in the bread, and then it'll produce alcohol and carbon dioxide, and that's how you get the bubbles and the fluffiness on the inside. So the longer you let a bread sit, the better it's going to be, the better it's going to taste, the more pure it's going to be. It's so delicious. But anyway, there's this thing called the 10-step method to making bread. It's 10 steps. So first you have to scale it out, and essentially it's for 2 cups of flour you want 1 cup of water, and then maybe a teaspoon or less of salt. And depending on what kind of yeast you use, it changes, because there's 3 kinds of yeast. But essentially, if you go to the supermarket and buy yeast, you get these little packets of it, just the instant dry, that's what it's called. Just use 1 packet of that, and essentially what you gotta do is you gotta let it soak in warm water for a few minutes before you actually put it in, otherwise it won't do as well as it should. But essentially, yeah, that's it. So you scale it out, and you mix it, right? And then you knead it a lot, so you just push into it, because what you're doing is you're making gluten. And if you didn't know what that is, gluten is essentially what makes bread so, tough and, stick together and so delicious. It's just amazing, you know what I'm saying? And I actually found out the other day because my brother texted me, because we were having this huge debate on what gluten is, and if it's been turned into a term that's not really what it is. But apparently, gluten is an enzyme that is created by mixing flour with water. And that's it. And you can only do that by mixing flour with water, I guess. And yeah. So then you let it rest for a long-ass time. If you're trying to make bread in one day, let it rest for 3 hours. If you're trying to make delicious bread, let it sit overnight in the fridge, my man. You know what I'm saying? Let it just sit there. It'll get so good. It'll taste like sex on earth. Or wait. Yeah, there is sex on earth. Silly me. But seriously, So you let it rest, and then when it comes out, you just knead it some more. And if you're making a lot of bread, you gotta divide it, and then you let it proof again. You let it sit again, but not for as long, maybe for like an hour or so. Then after that, you want to shape the bread. So I usually shape into like a loaf form. You know how you would just buy a loaf of bread at the supermarket? Just try and like, it's not going to get into that shape obviously, but it'll be like a smaller version of it. I mean, something you can slice nicely into really nice pieces of bread. It's really easy. And then you just gotta let that sit again for like another hour or so. And this is right before you put the bread in the oven, because the bread's gotta be just done fermenting, just done like with doing all its stuffy stuff, you know? So, yeah. It's really easy. I'm sure you can look it up online and learn a lot more than just me talking about it, but I'd say go make bread. It's so easy. It's so delicious. It's not like you're a little bitch if you make bread. Honestly, you're a boss if you make bread. You know why? Because bosses make bread. You know what I'm saying? So go make yourself some bread. You'll be amazed by how much better it is than if you went to the store and bought it. You'd actually probably cry, probably semenate, and yeah. I think I just made that word up, semenate. I like it. It's like, you know, vulgar, but not really too vulgar. Gets my point across without being a super huge douchebag. Or I'm just a super huge douchebag. But I don't think so. Anyway, let's get into the gameplay now that I'm done talking about the bread. If you've been watching, I've been just sort of killing people. This is a great game at Team Deathmatch, just a regular Team Deathmatch, not even Ground War, and I end up getting like 34 kills or something. I don't know, these people really sucked, and I end up getting my Reaper, and what really sucks is I end up getting my AC-132, and I have the Osprey Gunner set up, but I don't get it. But I actually had a game the other day where I got an Osprey Gunner again. Well, I get Osprey Gunners a lot, I just don't go for them. Because, well, they're fun. It's just, you got some of the maps, it's weird it's hard to decide what maps are the best for, like, these kill streaks. Because it's like this map is not a very good map for these kill streaks. Mainly because there's so much cover. So, I'd say if you're playing on a map with a lot of cover, put your kill streaks on something else that doesn't really involve this. Or maybe put specialists on. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, game's about to end, about to win. You'll see. And I'm done ranting like a crazy-ass person. So, I hope you all enjoyed. There's the end of the game. So, like, fave, comment, subscribe, and do all that fancy YouTube jazz. This has been XX Ghost Trikz. Peace out.